Hi everyone, it's Dr. Caitlin here, and I have a special guest with me today.
I'm Dr. Rebecca Taylor, and I'm a biological dentist in Edmonds, Washington.
And we constantly get questions about silver fillings. So we figured let's shoot some video and talk about what are silver fillings. So, Dr. Taylor, what are silver fillings?
So silver fillings are silver fillings. When you open your mouth and you see those dark fillings, those are all silver amalgam fillings. Those fillings are made up of a bunch of different metals. 50% by weight actually happen to be mercury. And so there's also zinc, and there's some copper, and of course silver is in there as well. But the main metal in silver fillings, is mercury. So that we get a lot of questions because we work together with patients that come in and they're concerned about their mercury fillings. They know that mercury is bad for them. And so I'm excited to do this video with you, Caitlin, because we get to collaborate and you get to hear it from the dental side and then also the functional medicine side.
Yeah, so silver fillings, I get this question all the time, and I'm sure you do too. They've been in my mouth for 20 years, they're fine. Well, what's the actual problem dental-wise that you see with silver fillings?
So silver fillings are a really old type of material, and the thing that, besides them being mercury, that I hate is that silver fillings, when they're placed in a tooth, they expand. They're not glued into your teeth. So the white fillings that we use now, we actually bond them into the tooth, they're glued. The silver fillings are not, and so what happens is when you pack them into the tooth, they expand, and that's how they stay inside the tooth. But what that does to the tooth is it actually causes microfractures. So over time, you're going to have, you're chewing, you have hot foods, cold foods, you have this expansion, contraction, and those cracks are going to create bigger and bigger cracks, just like a windshield crack. And so we see broken broken teeth actually all the time. The fillings are really strong and they usually stay, but the tooth then is compromised and the tooth actually cracks. And then you're more likely to need a root canal and crowns, and it gets kind of messy after that. So
it's kind of like the foundation of a house, right? How the foundation can shift and change and put cracks in the ceiling. Same thing can happen, it sounds like, with the amalgam fillings, the silver fillings, is with the shifting and the changing, it causes long-term damage with the structure of the tooth. Yes. And then you have to deal with the long-term, especially the expensive side effects of needing the root canal and crowns, all of those other things.
Yeah.
Talk about off-gassing.
Yeah, so mercury fillings, when I was in dental school, I was told that the fillings were totally safe, that you actually got more exposure from fish. And it's interesting because the World Health Organization doesn't totally agree with that. In fact, the World Health Organization says that the #1 exposure of mercury to most people is mercury amalgam fillings. So that's kind of interesting because, in dental school, we're not really taught that they off-gas, but these fillings are constantly off-gassing. In fact, the EPA, their kind of minimal or maximum type of dose that they want you exposed to is 0.3 micrograms per cubic meter. And when you just have 6 mercury fillings in your mouth, you're actually exposed to 400 times that. So it's huge. And so what does that mean for your health?
So what off-gassing means to me, so looking at it from a full body standpoint, off-gassing means that it's releasing vapors. And when you're releasing mercury vapors, it goes everywhere. So one thing I want you guys to all realize is your mouth is about an inch away from your brain. And so when you're releasing vapors, it's going to 2 places, well, more or less. Nerves, so your brain is one big nerve, or your nervous system, and fat cells. So a lot of times what I end up seeing long-term from silver fillings, amalgam fillings, is brain problems, so fatigue, memory problems. Oh, it's just due to age though. Then you throw in other things like I can't lose weight, I can't sleep, I have digestive issues, I have a thyroid problem, and don't worry, I'll dive in and break each of those up individually at some point. But you end up with a systemic problem from these silver fillings, and the concern that I have, and I'm sure that you have, is with these silver fillings in your mouth, when they off-gas, or what causes them to off-gas, are a couple things. Heat, Do you guys ever drink hot coffee, tea, drink or eat warm food, soups? Anytime you brush your teeth, which I hope is twice a day, and we'll get into that another time.
Mm-hmm.
Anytime you go to the dentist and get a cleaning, any of that abrasion type stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But then if it breaks and you have to get it replaced, that removal, if it's not done properly, is off-gassing an extreme amount.
Mm-hmm.
And so you're constantly exposed to these vapors of mercury.
Mm-hmm.
So,
and I would add in also, if you clench and grind your teeth,
ooh.
That's also going to totally release more mercury vapor off of the fillings.
So guys, 20-year-old fillings still off gases, and if you want, go look at the YouTube video. You can just say silver filling off gassing, and it will show you a 20-year-old filling releasing mercury vapors. It happens.
Mm-hmm.
So it's so important if you're struggling with any kind of health issue to look at your mouth. And coming from a functional standpoint, guys, more times than not, problems originate in the mouth and then they go systemic. So if you're looking at creating health and fixing problems, you gotta look in the mouth and make sure you find a good dentist to do that.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why mercury fillings, in a nutshell, aren't great. Stay tuned for the next episode on mercury and what it does.